Let's see what I can get done here. My kids are gone for 4th of July. Some of these I've showed last time. Some of them I've re-listened to. Little River Band I saw in concert. Can't remember what this little label right here is. Pretty cool. I like the Little River Band mostly because I saw them in concert when I was young. The songs are a little long on here, but you know, they're swamp type music, and it's, you know, it's okay. It's not a bad deal if you're into that type of thing. It's not a bad deal if you're as old as I am. Temptations, not much can be said about this album, and I think that's exactly what I said last time. Not really a whole lot that can be said. Roots music. They got that really long song on here, Smiling Face Sometimes, which is just a really nice song. And But Love is a really good long song too. I love it when they do long songs. Not a whole lot that can be said about Stevie Wonder, Songs in the Key of Life. Just not a whole lot that can be said about it. We know what it is. We've heard it a million times. More Roots music. Benny Carter, I think that was the saxophone player, and I mentioned this last time, that that was being looked for in that movie The Terminal by, let me turn my music up, by Tom Hanks in the movie. And that's the premise of the whole movie. He's looking for a signature from one jazz artist that his dad was looking for or something. Dexter Gordon, The Tower of Power, showed this last time. Dexter Gordon, a minimalist within the jazz realm, but just a really good player and played with some really good folks. This is salsa, but it's not salsa. It's The Ghetto by La Clave. It's good stuff. Really nice to hear something that, you know, you can dance to a little bit, that has a roots type feel to it. Hey, I'm using the word roots a lot. And then I'm doing it in context with Latin music, so that's really cool. Because it's roots on both sides. It's roots on the African American side, and it's roots on the Afro-Latino side. And look at this, we got Ruben Blades. This is more of a somber type album. It's not a salsa album, but it's good, and I like it. I love everything Ruben Blades does. A lot of it's really political, and I think that that's always really neat, to bring that political dimension into music that is this type of music. This is a really good album. I've got a few of his, but I don't think I have any of the salsa stuff. I showed this album the other day. It's Jackie Lee on guitar, or is it Zakk Wylde? Man, I'm getting confused, and I actually listened to this. So let's look here. It is, I'm not going to be able to find it quick enough, and I don't want to waste a whole lot of time. But anyway, this is a pretty good album. In my opinion, it's very well produced. People say that it's not well produced, but that's the main reason why I wanted this album, because of the production of it. Bark at the Moon is my favorite from him, and that is Jackie Lee on guitar. And I was surprised to see that a lot of other people really like that Bark at the Moon album too. I figured like Blizzard of Oz or something like that would be something that people would really like. Showed this last time. Really nice cover photo. An Evening at Windham Live by... it has George Winston and William Ackerman and a whole lot of the ECM folks on it. This is a very, and I think I showed this last time. I'm going through a stack that I should have gone through a little better. But if I got to talk about it one more time, I got to talk about it one more time. The Judas Priest, the Sin After Sin album is incredible. It's an incredible album that didn't get its due, in my opinion. It sounds a lot like, why can't I think about it? The one that's got the Ripper on it. It's one of my favorite albums, and I can't think of the name of it because I'm sitting here on camera. But this one is really good. It came out right before Stained Class, which is my favorite album by Judas Priest, and probably one of the greatest heavy metal albums of all times, in my opinion. Peter Gabriel plays live. I showed this last time. It has a lot of the stuff on it from the first 4 albums, which are self-titled, which I really all like a lot, except for the Bob Ezrin produced one, and I can't remember the name of that one. Is that one the Melt? No, it's not. It's Car, maybe? Devo, gotta have Devo. Devo's got a great sound. Oh, shoot. You know what I meant to do? I meant to go through CD, then album, then CD, then album, and then I can get more content on here. Let me start going through some CDs now. Richard Marx, and all these are random. Richard Marx, he had a good, nice, low-key sound to him. I really liked Richard Marx. Of course, he was a pretty boy, and that's what made him famous, is that having that pretty face. But he was a decent musician. Can't tell you, you know, he wrote most of his songs and things like that. You know, it's good stuff, guilty pleasure type stuff that I grew up to. Speaking of guilty pleasure and stuff I grew up to, gotta have Phil Collins. My mom looked for this album at the library for me. I mentioned this on the last video, so I'm gonna go through it real briefly. She looked at this album for the library for me for hours and hours and hours. We went through because I wanted to know what this man looked like, because I loved his music. Phil Collins, Face Value. I especially liked the Genesis stuff back then, the self-titled and then the Visible Touch. I was really into that. Mysteria Live. It's a CD. Don't know much about it. Can't remember what it sounds like. I think it sounded good, but one more CD. Cooking with the Miles Davis Quintet. This is the one that was made in 1958, was it? No, 1956. It's on here. And it's my favorite one out of the 4 or 5 that he did. The steaming and the cooking and the walking and all. Not walking, but yeah, those albums that he... Relaxing was one of them. That he did with John Coltrane and Red Garland and Philly Joe Jones, and who was the bass player, Paul Chambers. He did all those albums within a couple days to fulfill a recording obligation to the record company, and they are all excellent albums, just seminal albums in jazz. This is the best one. Tune Up When the Lights Are Low is my favorite song on it. I can hum that song all the way through. It's just really good stuff. It's jazz when jazz was first becoming what it was, when it was going from bop into hard bop into post bop, or I would say that's in between bop and hard bop. And it began a systematic way of playing music, modal type music, that became prominent in music in general, but very prominent in jazz. And very prominent in rock music. Anything that shied away from blues or went into a different territory started using a lot of modal type music. You'll hear the word Lydian thrown around and Dorian thrown around. A lot of people attribute the creation of that type of modal music to Miles Davis, especially the album Milestones. It's got a brown outlet. I'm pretty certain it's called Milestones, and it's got him holding his trumpet, sitting in a chair. Anyway, that album is supposed to be the quintessential starting point of modal jazz and the quintessential starting point of modal music. Queen the Game, isn't this from a movie? It's got the song Another One Bites the Dust on it. Hopefully that's still showing up. But anyway, it's got Another One Bites the Dust on it. This is not I'm just not that big of a Queen fan. Could never really get into them. My wife was super into them, and I try to listen to them. They're okay. Sarah Vaughan, one of my favorite female singers. This album has a whole lot of alternate takes on it, and the CD's not in there. That's too bad. When I was active duty Air Force, I just threw all my CDs all over the place, and some stuff just got really mixed up. But hey, that's the way I lived. I think my favorite songs on here are It Might As Well Be Spring, which Johnny Hartman did a version of that, which is better. And Ain't Misbehavin' I really like a lot. Yeah, it's just really short songs. Some of them they're really good, but they're done so many times, and they're done better by better artists, or better artists in my opinion, or just done better in general, that I would probably rather listen to other versions of them. Like, for instance, Come Rain or Come Shine. I love that version on here, but Billie Holiday blows it out of the water with her version. Now let's go to the CD. Raffi Levette. Saw him in concert. This is called Mi Barrio. Bought this years and years and years ago. This was distributed in 1995. So I saw him in concert. I didn't buy this CD at the concert, but I saw him in concert and just really wanted to start picking up his music. He's a piano player, and he has a really distinctive high-pitched voice. I particularly like the song Amor y Paz. That's showing up backwards to me, but that's what we got to deal with here. Soledad Soledado, I don't think that's the version of it I like. I think I like a newer version of that, even if it is the same song. The song On Amor y Paz I might actually have on this iPad, but it's just really, 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 really hard hitting, and that has a lot of meaning to me. And even if it is on here, I might not be able to. I might not be able to. I might not be able to find it because it might not be listed under his name. But we got Señora Temptation and Desperado. This is a song that's kind of in the vein of that Armory Pies from the same time period. It's not the same song, but this is a heavy hitter, and that Armory Pies is also a heavy hitter. Just a lot of percussion solos and things like that. Kind of the stuff that I'm really into. That part right there. That's something else. This is the music that I love. But, you know, and I should do something, and I probably will, do some Latin stuff. But that's Tito Rodriguez. Let's stop right there. I'm at 11:06.